Hey everyone, I'm Alan Thrall here in my garage, and I'm excited to reveal this new and improved home gym setup in the next video, probably next week. So this video is a response to a video posted by Natural Hypertrophy called Powerbuilding is an Abomination. Bald Omni-Man made his response video, and since then the topic has kind of been floating around. Basement Bodybuilding also made a response video, and it's even made its way to Instagram. There's been some posts that have been shared that I've seen, and so I wanted to respond to it and give my thoughts. I always feel like an old man when I respond to these things because I'm late to the party. I want to respond, give me a couple of weeks. And I know that social media has this 48-hour window of time before something's irrelevant, but here I am, better late than never. So in his video, Natural Hypertrophy makes the case that it is nonsensical to pursue both bodybuilding and powerlifting. In the competitive definition of powerlifting, chasing a 1-rep max squat bench deadlift, changing leverages and technique and tempo in order to lift more weight for powerlifting. And Bald Omni-Man comes back and takes a little bit more general approach to say that strength training and bodybuilding are one and the same thing. They're both great videos. I am not here to echo their points. I'm not here to fight their battles for them. I will link the videos in the description of this video, or maybe I'll put it up in the corner as an iCard. Go check out those original videos. If you have an opinion, give them a piece of your mind in the comment section of their videos. So let's talk about power building. So the first thing I'll say about power building, you can do whatever the you want to do. You are an adult. If you want to chase a 1-rep max 500-pound deadlift, and then go do some lat pull downs, some curls, and bang out high reps of pull-ups, keep on rocking in the free world. If you are just lifting weights to meet minimum or basic resistance training guidelines and you prefer power building as your approach, that's totally fine. Keep doing your thing. If you are lifting weights just because you want to reap some benefits of resistance training, you want to build some muscle, increase bone density, improve your mental health, joint, ligament, tendon health, and you prefer the power building style of programming, you are on the right path. Sitting here and arguing about powerlifting and bodybuilding and power building is sort of like people arguing about barbecue online. Oh, you know, you got to do a marinade. No, it's got to be dry rub. Got to be salt and pepper only. No, you got to use this rub. Got to use seasoning salt and garlic powder. Got to cook it hot and fast. No, it's got to be low and slow. You got to use this wood, that wood. Got to use an offset smoker. No, it's got to be a gravity-fed smoker. Got to use a pellet smoker. You got to, wrap it in foil. You got to wrap it in butcher paper. You got to let it rest for 8 hours. No, 3 hours is enough. Got to put sauce on it. Barbecue can't have sauce. Got to have tomato-based sauce. Got to have vinegar-based sauce. You can prepare and eat your barbecue however you would like. And you can structure your strength training routine or your weight training routine however you'd like. If my sedentary, overweight, imaginary 60-year-old uncle came to me and said, hey Alan, I started doing Richard Simmons VHS tape workouts, and man, I love it, it's great. I would say, that's awesome, Uncle Thrall, keep it up, keep me posted. Or I guess to keep the topic, if he were to say, hey Alan, I just started this thing called power building. Man, I love it. I would say, that is so cool to hear. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm not going to sit there and tell him, well, power building might not be optimal for you for these reasons. That's because that imaginary uncle is general population. So with all that said, a lot of YouTube fitness, a lot of these videos that I make, the videos that I watch, the videos that you watch, they are not designed or created to be the front lines of fitness information. These videos are made for the person wanting more. They are for a person who wants to improve, who wants to learn more about this new thing they're doing. They want to learn the who, what, when, why, where, and how to everything. Let me use my channel as an example, and my channel's not different than any other big YouTube channel. I have built this YouTube channel on videos about in-depth analysis of squat and deadlift and bench press technique, the intricacies of the squat, a high bar squat versus a low bar squat, conventional deadlift, sumo deadlift, how high should your hips be for the deadlift, barbell and powerlifting secrets. They are made, these videos are made for people who want to improve. They want to get the most out of what they're doing. Not designed for general population. Just like that barbecue example I listed, some people want to know how to make the perfect brisket. They don't want to know, just put a little salt and pepper on it, 350 in an oven. They want to make the perfect brisket. And the people who watch these YouTube videos are no different. We cannot deny the fact that there are a lot of people, the majority of people I would say, who are frustrated with their lack of progress, whether that's progress in strength or progress in body composition or muscle building or bodybuilding. So these people have to do some digging on the internet, on YouTube, to find answers to their questions. I remember a few years ago, I was talking with someone about the most popular YouTube channels. Not on YouTube Fitness, but just most popular YouTube channels on YouTube. And one of the most popular channels, it wasn't PewDiePie, but it was a video game channel. And I remember thinking to myself, why in the hell would someone want to sit and watch someone else play video games? Why don't you just go play video games yourself? I'm sure that those video gamers would look at me and say, why do you watch videos of other dudes lifting weights? Why do you watch videos about other dudes talking about exercise? Why don't you just go to the gym and exercise? We are the same thing. We're doing the exact same thing. Me and these video gamers that I would judge years ago. These video gamers watch other people play video games because they want to know they're stuck. They want to know how to level up. They're hit a plateau, a video game plateau. They don't know how to get to the next level. They want to know how to increase their stats. They want to know how to level up. Maybe they want to know some secret tunnels and caves. Maybe they want to know cheat codes. YouTube Fitness is no different. The people who consume these videos, but the people who watch these videos are wanting to improve. They have questions. They want to get the most out of their journey. And so they go to the internet and they type in, why am I not getting stronger? Why am I not getting bigger? Basement Bodybuilding built his entire YouTube channel about this. He was a dude who started bodybuilding because he wanted to build some muscle and get big. He got bit by the powerlifting bug. He started doing power building, probably favored a little more towards powerlifting, and he chased strength. He got his numbers up because that's what he thought he had to do in order to get big, in order to get bigger muscles. He got his numbers up to 225 bench for 20, 500 deadlift for 10, I think a 600 pound 1 rep max. His squat was almost 500. And then he realized, man, I'm still skinny. I'm chasing these numbers and I'm not getting the muscle building progress like I had hoped. So he's a classic example of one of these people who was frustrated. And so he went to YouTube and he's sharing his experience. People do spin their wheels and they get frustrated with their lack of progress. This is why they search for videos and watch videos of dudes talking to the camera for 20 minutes about minor details in lifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, strength training, power building. They watch videos of some dude sitting on an old nursery chair in his garage talking about lifting weights. A lot of what we talk about is specific. It's not intended for the general public. So while talking to general public about power building seems useless, kind of is. You're not going to see people talking about power building in Men's Health magazines or on Dr. Oz discussing the difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding. It's not for the general public. It is for people who want to learn a little bit more, people who are trying to dig for answers. And I think this back and forth discussion is awesome. I'm not going to dismiss it as this is useless for most people. I'm passionate about this stuff and I like to learn about this stuff. So I love hearing this back and forth discussion. Now, I kind of want to talk about why we have this discussion in the first place. Why are we even talking about this? Why can't we just let it go? Why does powerlifting invade the bodybuilding space, but it's not really the other way around? You don't see many bodybuilders giving powerlifting advice unless they have prior experience in powerlifting. Natural Hypertrophy actually made a video about this, an old video. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. If I do remember, I will link it down in the description area. It's a good video that I would suggest checking out. But he talks about why powerlifting dominates bodybuilding in the YouTube space. And he talks about the origins of the powerlifting boom on YouTube, mainly, not really social media, but on YouTube. And he talks about this community that was born through powerlifting and strength training. And it was a bunch of dudes who were passionate, who were wanting to be helpful, who were giving tips, suggestions, they were creating programs, and they were being down-to-earth dudes who you could relate to. And they were kind of breeding this welcoming environment for beginners. It's a very good video. I would suggest checking it out. I'm not going to really talk about the environment that he talks about in that video, but I think that I have a unique POV to all of this stuff because I don't just observe YouTube trends. I have coached a lot of people online, and I've coached even more people in person. And I own a gym full of people from all different levels, all different walks of life. So I get to see firsthand, I get to see real time the path that a lot of people take in their weight training journey. And I can confidently say that powerlifting is more appealing than bodybuilding. I realize my bias here because I own a powerlifting gym, but hear me out. So maybe in the 80s when we were watching, when young men would see Rocky or Rambo or Conan or something like that, they would be inspired to do bodybuilding. I think that within the past 10 years, when people get onto social media and they see how popular powerlifting is, it is a bit more appealing than bodybuilding. Someone who is powerlifting does not need to be reminded that they are not bodybuilders. They know. They don't want to be bodybuilders. You don't have to tell a powerlifter, hey, you need to ease back on the bodybuilding. I'm actually surprised by by the discipline of some powerlifters. They say, you know what, I want to do powerlifting. Boom, they find a program, they follow it to a T. Some people even start with powerlifting. I've seen people sign up for a gym membership and they've never really been in a gym before, and they start powerlifting immediately, which is awesome. So powerlifters don't need to be reminded that they're not bodybuilders. But if we flip that around, a lot of people who come into the gym just because they want to build some muscle or because they want to look better and improve their body composition, they might not call themselves bodybuilders, but they do in fact want to build their body. They will come into the gym and quickly be enticed or start to follow that powerlifting carrot dangling in front of them that says, just get stronger. Just get your deadlift up to 500 pounds. You'll have everything you ever wanted. You'll be jacked and strong. And this is advice that I used to give myself. I don't remember the video. It might have been a Q&A. If I did remember it, I would plug in the clip here. But someone was asking me about, I don't know if it was generally about building muscle or if it was specifically about building back muscle, but they wanted to get bigger. And I said, just get your deadlift up to 700 pounds and you'll have all the muscle you ever wanted. That's a classic Ripito response, but this is totally a cop-out response. I had good intentions. I was, trying to give them a big goal. I knew it would keep them busy. I know they would have to work hard for it, and they would be doing a lot of deadlifts, and deadlifts are good. But it is a cop-out response. I know that this dude is never going to deadlift 700 pounds, so he can't come back to me and say, hey, you were wrong. So while I thought it was a good answer, definitely was not the best answer, probably not even a good answer. This is like him, the same guy asking me, hey Alan, I need you to teach me how to save money. I have zero money in my savings account. And I said, you need to make $250,000 next year. That's a big goal. I know he's gonna have to work hard for it, he's gonna have to stay consistent, but he's probably not gonna reach that goal. Let's say he comes back to me a year later and says, hey Alan, I made $250,000 this year, but I still have nothing in my savings. I made more money and I spent more money. I never actually taught him how to save money. I never actually taught him how to do the thing he wanted to do. I just gave him a destination and I assumed that everything would work itself out on the way to that destination. So back to the original statement about powerlifting being more appealing than bodybuilding. I think that powerlifting can be an easier sell than bodybuilding. I think this is because powerlifting is more addictive. Strength training gives us tangible progress, measurable progress. I bench press 200 pounds. I want to get to 300 pounds. So my goal is to get to 220 pounds, 240 pounds, 260 pounds, 280 pounds, finally 300 pounds. And every time you hit one of those landmarks, it feels awesome. I don't need to explain the feeling of a PR. You feel accomplished. You get this huge rush of dopamine. I did it. Yes, I'm getting stronger. I used to bench 240 pounds, now I bench 300 pounds. Look how far I've come. And even programs are structured 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, to where you have these goals and you get to hit those. And it's so clear and defined that you've accomplished that goal. It is very, very addicting. Bodybuilding, on the other hand, can be a little harder to gauge. You see yourself in the mirror every single day. You don't notice small changes. You don't just wake up one morning and say, whoa, look at me, I'm jacked. Maybe you see an old picture, an old video, and you see, oh, well, I look a little bit bigger. Maybe someone makes a comment like, hey, you're looking jacked. Maybe your clothes start fitting a little bit different, but you don't get that immediate, tangible feedback that says you have accomplished your goal. And even measurements, you might say, well, I could just measure my arms, and once I get that 16, 17, 18-inch arm, then I've accomplished my goal. But I could gain 20 pounds of body weight and maybe put in half an inch on my arms. Is that a half an inch of muscle from bodybuilding? I don't know. You might even say, I really want to get bigger pecs. And so you take a measurement of your chest. And you say, wow, I'm up 2 inches. But is that 2 inches on your pecs? Is it 2 inches on your lats? Did your upper back get a little bit thicker? Hard to tell. A little more gray area here. I kind of view strength training more as a sport. It's objective. You are lifting weights in order to get better at lifting weights. Clearly defined. But with bodybuilding, it's more of an art form. It is subjective. You are lifting weights in order to get better at bodybuilding. So there's a little more gray area. Strength training is like learning a dance. So you do these moves with this song. And if you accomplish that, if you memorize all of those steps and you accomplish that, you have accomplished your goal. Bodybuilding is more like learning how to dance. Not as clearly defined, a little more subjective. These two things are very similar, but they're not quite the same thing. So, admittedly, it is hard not to chase strength. It's right there in front of you. You are lifting weights in order to get better at lifting weights. You are adding weight to the bar. It's right there in front of you. It's undeniable. When you squat, bench, and deadlift, it's easy to get sucked into how much am I squatting, bench, and deadlifting? How much has my squat, bench, deadlift improved? And you can't help but want to increase your squat, bench, and deadlift, especially if you're a competitive person. And to Bald Omni-Man's point, chasing strength is not a bad thing. Wanting to increase the numbers that you're lifting is good. It requires you to be consistent. It requires you to train hard. You have to take a smart approach to training. You have to chase hard sets. You can't train like a Sally. And I don't think any bodybuilders having this discussion about powerlifting, bodybuilding, power building, I don't think any bodybuilders would argue against what I just said. If you can only do 3 pull-ups right now, and in 1 year you're the same body weight and you can still only do 3 pull-ups, something's not right. If you're doing easy bar curls with 35 pounds, and next year you're still doing easy bar curls with 35 pounds for the same number of reps at the same intensity, something's not right. Something is up with your training. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to improve those numbers. You have to want to improve those numbers. The problem starts when you're changing your technique, when you're speeding up your tempo, or when you're adjusting the program so that you're hyper specialized to increase your squat, bench, deadlift, or you're adjusting the program so that you are peaking for strength. At that point, it becomes counterproductive to bodybuilding. And this isn't a new concept. When I saw the video that NH posted, I didn't think, wow, this is groundbreaking stuff. How dare he say this? Because this is not a new concept. People have been saying stuff like this. Ripito said years ago that he stopped attending powerlifting meets because it's an embarrassment to strength training. He has his reasons why. And more recently, Zach Tellender and Atlas Power Shrugged were going back and forth. Well, not back and forth, but they were talking about this topic. And Johnny Candido, Alex Bromley all made videos and posts about how powerlifting is an abomination. And it is no longer it doesn't even remotely look like strength training. It is not what our forefathers had in mind when they created powerlifting. And Clarence Kennedy often criticizes powerlifting for being, a joke in the eyes of strength. He says himself the reason he squats ass to grass, pauses, doesn't wear a belt, doesn't wear knee sleeves, is because it's kind of a spit in the face at the way powerlifting squats look. He thinks that it looks better. And these ideas are well received. People are like, wow, this is genius. This is really, really smart. You know, I can't argue with that. So if people are saying that powerlifting and strength training are no longer the same thing anymore, I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that powerlifting and bodybuilding don't belong in the same sentence, let alone the same word. So where do we go from here? I would suggest checking out Bald Omni-Man's YouTube channel. I know that Alex Leonidas also likes strength and bodybuilding, but Bald Omni-Man, I especially like his YouTube channel because he puts a strength flair on his bodybuilding approach and his bodybuilding programs. And this is one reason why this year I started doing bodybuilding. It wasn't because I really want 18-inch arms and I really want big old juicy pecs. One of the reasons I started is because I was just watching these videos of other natural bodybuilders, and I really started to appreciate strength expressed in many movements. Not just squat, bench, and deadlift, and not just strongman. I felt like I was starting to hyper specialize in strongman training, and I just noticed the holes in my training. I wanted to, improve weighted pull-ups, weighted dips, curls, skull crushers, RDLs, pullovers, all of these things that I'm now doing, and I enjoy pushing these really, really hard. And I'm watching the progress come to me, and it feels good. So in a sense, I am still pursuing progress and strength in some way. But the key here is that I'm making sure with all these new movements that I'm pushing, I'm trying to keep my technique, my tempo, and my programming consistent. That way I know without a doubt that I am making progress in my numbers. I'm going to stop there. I'm running out of time. I got to get going. Thanks for watching, and always remember, train on time!